One,
Good answer.
two.
I did twice.
Okay.
I think we are hopefully propagating, and this is the 12th Gimbalabs weekly update. Hi, everybody. And 12 weeks. This is kind of cool because I think if you think in terms of 4 weeks per month, our Fund 2 proposal really was a 3-month scope, right?
Yeah.
And so this kind of, does this mean we're done?
Yes, we're done now.
There's nothing else to do. Hey, Steve. All right,
Hi,
Steve found
Steve.
us. That means it's working. Good.
Good.
Good
Yeah,
news.
Twitter also propagated.
So yeah, it's an exciting moment, and it's a really cool chance to kind of reflect as we get to this 3-month mark and to really look ahead to now the next 3 months. I guess this is why people do quarterly reviews, huh? Thanks. All right, so let's jump right in. So the reason we do the Gimbalabs weekly update is because we recognize this is our responsibility to the Cardano community, to the Catalyst community, just to share with you what we've been doing. Y'all put your trust in us, and we really want to make sure we're delivering on that. So every week, every Friday afternoon, we go live for some shout outs. We talk about what we've done in the previous week, what we're doing next week, and what we hope that you might do next week. And then we have a little time for Q&A. So let's jump right into this week's shout outs, and I will hand it off to my partner, Roberto.
Okay, this week we need to thank you and shout out to great SPOs who are Caso from Boost and Giovanni from Easy One. They both has some great stories to tell. Yeah, we will be telling more about them, I feel, soon.
If you haven't looked at Giovanni's YouTube videos, there he is in the chat. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't, I'm not technically inclined to the point where I am ready to build my own stake pool on Raspberry Pis. But even though I'm not quite the technical audience for those videos, I just love watching these things. I feel like I just learn so much, both from what you're sharing in those videos and also just from your approach and kind of the mindset you bring to this work. So thanks so much for setting that example. And then to Mercy and the WADA team, we just wanted to give you all a shout out. We'll talk more about you later. But thanks for engaging with us and for the chance to kind of test out some of the community resources we're building. We're really excited to jump into that a little more formally next week. One of the things I'm talking about in particular, I mentioned last week when we were talking about the Gimbal pool, how we used Roberto's customized Cardano node Kubernetes deployment. And we have some drafted documentation for that. What we now have the chance to do is to test out that documentation and really get it to the point where it's consumable, right? Because even as I worked through that process, I had to keep asking Roberto questions to make sure I understand this and that. And my goal is to take that experience and turn it into something that somebody can read and understand. So we're really excited to have that opportunity to work with Mercy and the team to get some stake pools running.
Okay.
All right, what we've done, I'll hand it off to Roberto again. That was pretty exciting yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we had the first Spanish coding on-chain session with Caso from Boost. We hacked some metadata in preparation for the metadata challenge. We played with the idea of having fully on-chain, on Cardano chain, NFTs. Maybe we will be having some cool NFTs soon.
Awesome. And it's good to hear that metadata is going multilingual. It's about time. There's a lot more to say about the playground, and we'll share what we can over the coming weeks, and we're looking forward to having something to put into everybody's hands. We've been working on, the very first version of an app for what we're building. So thanks to everybody participating in the playground team for kind of getting us to the point of thinking about this app that we're calling Collab. We will roll that out and put it in your hands as soon as we can. And everybody who's been working on the architecture side, Roberto, Kyle, OCG, etc. We got to a really exciting point with Buki and Faye deploying the ABC Devs site that they've been working on for the newly funded Africa Blockchain Center for Developers. So it's really exciting. You can see that up. And they share the mindset with us here at Gimbalabs that it's worth sharing a work in progress. So what you'll see there is the site as it exists right now, and that's ongoing work. But in my head, I have a clear idea that in this era of distributed and decentralized work, kind of hand in hand with that is this idea that we can share with each other works in progress, right? We don't have to wait until something is the final product, right? But we can really build participation by engaging in that. So I hope that's what folks see when they check out that site, and I have high hopes that Faye and Buki and Josh and Gwendol are going to be running a really helpful and unique project that kind of sets an example. In the background, we've been working with community engagement. It's always so exciting when a new Catalyst funding round begins, because we get to start meeting some new people who show up. So lots of cool conversations going on in the background there. And as we'll talk about more in just a moment, we are building out the Gimbalabs team. Before I move on to that, anything to add to those points?
Oh, that's fine. Fine for my side.
Good deal. So before we talk about hiring, this is kind of related to that. It's really exciting to be moving into Catalyst Fund 5 and to be, rather than submitting a proposal like we did in Fund 2 and Fund 4 for basically just some funds to get this project going, we're moving into a phase now where we're able to say, all right, let's do some focused work. And so what we have is spread out over several different challenges in Fund 5 are different proposals we have for working within those challenges. What's most exciting to me about this is this puts Gimbalabs governance in the hands of the Catalyst community, right? You might say that, hey, this project or that one, nah, that's not worth it. But this other one, sure, we'll fund that, right? And this holds us accountable for putting out plans that you can understand and that you as a voter see the value in. And it's going to help us set our priorities for where we should be putting the most effort. The metadata challenge, we might have a couple of different things going on. How much do we want to say about that for now?
Well, it's already public that we are building something related to APIs, authorization mechanism. So that's not secret, and that's one of the proposals that we would be co-proposing somehow. And yeah, the other one I already teased is and also it's being showed is the metadata, the fully on-chain NFTs on Cardano metadata. So those are two candidates to be metadata challenge proposals.
That's going to be, it's going to be really fun to see. I'm going to work with Mercy and the WADA team to think about a proposal there as well. And I might throw something in, just for like $25 or something, just because I love the hackathon nature of the metadata challenge. I think it's fun to just to see what little things we can accomplish. I think this challenge is really, really good for the Cardano community. So glad it's happening. As for dApps, Julie, you want to take that one?
Yeah, I mean, this is actually, I mean, we onboarded literally 2 entrepreneurs here, and really they engaged with us throughout our webpage design. So we got deeper in the conversations, and it just made click with all of us, with Cardano and the possibilities that that is considered. So they really want to tackle a problem in related to typography, and with their industry, their ecosystem, design ecosystem they are in. So more to come on that. We're working hard on the problem statement and scoping it the right way, just to make it narrow as possible, to understandable as possible. And yeah, we are excited about that. This project actually will represent a proper playground to itself, thinking about it as a business analysis, a sprint on developing different tools, and finally getting to the stage that we can hand over in a joint effort, obviously, a dApp for them to be like an MVP and go further from there. So very excited about that project.
It's going to be neat. And just like with our first Playground project, this is resulting in a specific outcome, a dApp, and a layer of tooling that we are pretty confident we'll be able to apply to other use cases. So it's really cool to have kind of generalized work going on, but also this very specific use case. And if we can do that successfully, then we can apply what we know there to other projects.
Yeah.
Now, in order to make that happen, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, so I was going to say, in order to make that happen, we need some infrastructure. And that's why in the developer ecosystem, right, we're going to submit a specific proposal for Dandelion, kind of going full circle back to Fund 2, right? Roberto proposed Dandelion in Fund 2. We merged together to kind of launch a couple ideas, right? Both this technical tool that helps people build, and kind of the social scaffolding and the educational scaffolding to accompany that. And it's just been, I'm amazed every day by how many people have been supported by Dandelion. And it's just so exciting meeting people who are using it. But there's a lot more to it than Roberto running one node, right? So we have this vision for running multiple nodes, and we really want to tell the story of what these things are for and how they're being used. So I think we've got a clear, focused proposal there. You want to say a word or two about that, Roberto? I just started talking.
No, you did a much more better job than what I would do. Even if it's my idea, you fully supported me from the beginning, and now, yeah, it's the time to push this dream of having dandelions on different gardens and not only on ours, because yeah, we are pushing for a decentralized world where you don't rely on specific entities, but just rely on networks that provide the service and the infrastructure. So that will be the key point for the proposal. I hope the community supports us on this project, so we can build it and offer a better Dandelion or Cardano APIs to every entrepreneur and developer out there. It's been like more than 10 projects that I can count from my mind that Bootstrap, thanks to having this service, even though it failed from time to time, even though it had downtimes because upgrades, because we don't run on fancy infrastructure, because this is built for prototyping, not for production. So it will be great to support hundreds, not just thousands.
As a user, I can't imagine not having these things anymore. They've already just become essential. When I want to figure out how something works, knowing that I have that to go to is great. And we've talked about this before on weekly updates, but I think it's worth repeating over and over again, right? You just mentioned these are not meant for production. It's tempting to use them for production, even though they're not built for that. But the critical thing, and I was talking to Steve about this yesterday, Roberto, the problem with Dandelion is that people just trust you, and because you're such a generous and thoughtful person, people don't realize the danger that they shouldn't trust you with this, right? And so it's a funny thing. And you've taught me this idea of verifying, not trusting, right? And so we really want to empower people to verify, but also to see, hey, look, we're talking about people's money here. We're talking about exchanges of value and trust, and these are things that could be misused so quickly, and it's so urgent that we build out this ecosystem, because no matter how good you are and how honest you are and how much we trust you, like that's besides the point, right? We need resilient systems so that when any sort of actor shows up, we can all continue to do the work we want to do. So a lot more there, and I know that's related to the metadata challenge. So looking forward anyway to getting all these things out there on the table. Now, with this in mind, as we talk about future funding, we are also just really fired up that we are growing our team. It's so exciting to be to this point, and as a core team to feel such clarity around these roles to start, and also the additional ones that we'll be rolling out over the next few weeks. We posted on Discord, for the lead web developer position. It's been really nice talking to folks the last few days. We have a few more calls scheduled. And if you are a front-end developer who's interested in kind of owning a project and getting much deeper in, do check that out in the Gimbalabs Discord. Or if you know somebody who might be interested in dipping their toes into that sort of development work, and hopefully already knows a thing or two about Cardano, because we want them to be a good storyteller and ambassador, do send them our way. The other job that we're going to post on Monday is for a Dandelion project lead. Okay, there's a lot of work. The technical work is done, but we want to do so much more than just provide these tools. We know we need to tell their story. We know we want to better document these tools, talk about use cases, maybe even interface with the folks who are using Dandelion APIs and talk to them about the things they're doing, so we can tell that story. So if you are technically minded, maybe you don't consider yourself a full-on developer, right? And if deep DevOps isn't quite your thing, but you can understand it, and you want to communicate to other people the stories about how technology is used, you might be a really good fit for this Dandelion project lead role that we're going to post. Basically, your responsibility will be what I just said a minute ago, right? You're taking all of the APIs that exist, making sure each is documented, and we talk about their use cases, and then telling the story that drives other people to plant dandelions in their garden, so we can have a fully distributed system, and we don't have to trust any one person anymore. Both of these roles, the key thing is these are starting points. We really see these as opportunities to begin to engage with people who hopefully become full-on teammates, full-on stakeholders in Gimbalabs. And our hope is that when we get people to engage in these roles in the immediate term, it leads to a place where you are bringing your own ideas and continuing to contribute from there. Finally, I mentioned the Collab app a few minutes ago. A and I are pretty fired up. We're basically building development task bounties directly into our prototype. So what we're going to have for you is you're going to be able to look at what we've built so far. And if you do have front end skills, or even like middle end skills, right, for like JavaScript, for example, and you want to start to contribute those skills to a project, we're going to show you what we have so far, and we're going to offer you ways to get involved by asking for your support on very specific things. So look for a quick little video and announcement of that next week too. We were thinking about racing to put it up today, but we realized that we'd rather tend towards clarity about what we're asking for there. So look for that soon. So next steps. Julie, you want to take that first one?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we are, as we mentioned, I think in last week, we got very clear about that all our focus needs to be, besides Dandelion, also on the playground. This is kind of our two flagships, like Dandelion and the playground. So we are really defining a structured way on how to address like a problem idea and to scope it accordingly, that we really can cover business tools, open source tools, and dApp creation at once. So there we make sure there will be the space for the developers who want to expand, who want to explore, who want to tinker, have their space. But we also want to ensure that Gimbalabs is creating unique features to really be able to add value to incoming entrepreneurs, into incoming teams, including to even Catalyst, to be able to support those ventures as well. Yeah, I think that's it.
So yeah, it's so exciting that we're going to. This is a storytelling piece too, isn't it? Right? Like there's a lot happening, and we're asking storytellers and organizers to come aboard to lend some shape to this hive activity. And Julie, thanks for helping to direct my thoughts over the last few days. I couldn't do any of this without you.
Always teamwork, James.
Amen. We're all three of us are continuing to build our network. We hope all of you are out there doing the same thing, just looking for ways to support each other. Always, if I've talked to you one-on-one, you've probably heard me say this, but our grand experiment is trying to figure out, how do you give individual people a maximum amount of autonomy to really make sure they're spending their lives, their precious time, doing the things they want to do, while also coordinating in a way that helps us do things that none of us could do alone, right? So we want that. We want the reliability of teamwork coupled with just the joy and the personal fulfillment of autonomy and doing what you want to do. So if that resonates with you, we hope that you will join our network, and you never have to even say that you're part of our network, as if we are helping you, we're satisfied. And like I said, next week, big priorities for hiring and getting those initial Fund 5 proposals out. So your next steps, want to just give a shout out to WADA one more time. If you haven't heard about what they are doing to crowdsource their initial work, please do check out this URL right here and just read about what they're doing. If you are somebody who can afford it, I think it's a really cool opportunity to fund a project that's absolutely essential. if you have a Fund 5 proposal and you need people or even just a conversation, of course, reach out or even just ping the Discord channel just to see who's out there who can maybe support you, and look for those job and task postings next week that we've mentioned. That's our agenda for today. Anybody in the chat have questions or teammates? What did I miss?
I love questions. Let's go.
I like this part too.
Yeah, me too. So I bet Steve will have a question.
Shout out to Sosha for being the soundtrack of my work the last 24 hours. And Roberto, that album you shared yesterday really had me bouncing in my seat. That was great.
We forgot to mention in your next steps, maybe consider taking with Gimbal.
Yeah, of course.
We are live. We are all systems go. We're waiting for that first block, right?
Yes, please.
Right.
That would be awesome.
A tells us not to put the pressure on Steve. And I'm not
okay,
sure.
Then A, go ahead. You
yeah, put the pressure on A. Oh my gosh. And Gary, I didn't even know you were here. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to shout out to Gary for really being a driver of the work that's happening with water right now. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, thanks for being here. And I know we've never talked, but I think we are quite aligned, and it's just good to know you're out there, my friend. Steve does have a question. I find the idea of being anything with Dandelion personally interesting. How techy do you need? That's a good question. Roberto, what do you say?
How techy? You mean which skills for the project? Well, we will be building an API authorization mechanism. It will be cool to use Scala. Because we can integrate with some libraries that are already there for Cardano wallet. So that could be a good skill. And yeah, as James mentioned, if you are a DevOps oriented person, developer, that will help, because in the end, Dandelion itself, it's a bunch of services glued together. Yeah, being familiar to Kubernetes, which is the technology, the orchestrator we are using to host these services, will also help. So nothing special, just having the aiming for exploring all this and knowing a bit of Cardano, of course, that will help.
We are actually, Steve, if you're available, it would be great to have you there as we begin to roll out the WADA plans, because this is precisely what we want to make sure to do, is make sure that all of the prerequisite skills are in place, right? So Roberto just mentioned Kubernetes. That's a prerequisite to being able to use customized Cardano node, and some additional services built on top of that. And then we'll start with some Cardano CLI and Cardano node commands, just to make sure people are familiar with running a local node. So it would be great to have you there. And I know that if you are able to join us for those, I'll benefit, because I'll be able to debrief with you, and you'll be able to kind of talk about what went well and what you'd improve. So I think this could be a nice, mutually beneficial way. A says, is the idea to have Dandelion be containerization even running from Electron? Interesting. Oh, nice. That accessibility.
Well, actually, I'm not sure if you can run Docker containers. No, I don't think that's really feasible. But yeah, if you have a Windows tablet, you can do it. Um, you still need to be a bit techy. But yeah, I try to simplify the overall process
Yeah.
to 3 steps.
Yeah, honestly, Kubernetes, for me, the harder part was conceptual than technical, right? I think one of the things we might need to do as a prerequisite to using some of these tools is just right, like figure out the conceptual onboarding process. And Docker, the same thing. It's really confusing until you use it a few times to recognize what Docker is and where it lives and where it's running, right? And to trust that I'm not going to destroy my computer by messing around in a Docker container, right? So that could be, heck, there might be another job posting about that. Who's going to be our prerequisites manager to get people in? Gio, see you soon. And yeah, I think we've definitely gone well beyond our goal of taking 15 to 20 minutes for these things. Thanks for sticking with us for the sleepy pace today and and the conversation, everybody.
Yeah, thanks.
We will see you all very soon. Thanks for everything, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye.